Hello everyone. As I explained earlier, I was going to be covering collaborative learning. I think all of us can agree that critical thinking is kind of disappearing in our classrooms. We lecture, then we ask students questions and only give them a few seconds, because we are expecting them simply to recite what they just heard. Collaborative learning is an effort to take us away from this just straight lecturing method to actually allow students to critically think. It is by breaking students into groups of mixed abilities, race, gender, and maybe even socioeconomic groups, or any other way you can think of possibly dividing students. Studies have shown that this method improves both academic and social achievements of students. It gets students to work with students that they would have never thought of even talking to before. And another source of mine was saying that this may be the first step to actually breaking down generational racism by making students talk to someone that they had preconceived notions of. So, what are some examples of this? I picked two examples to say today. There are many more, but the first example that I have is teams, games, tournaments. This is a bit of a long-term one where students are broken down into teams of this mixed ability and others at the beginning of the year. They keep these teams throughout the year, but after each lesson, the teacher has the opportunity to send students back to their teams, and then the students help each other out to make sure that everyone understands the lesson clearly. After a while, the students are brought to tables where one member of each team is at each table. And the tables are based off of the students' achievement level. So the top students of team A, B, and C are all at table 1. And at table 2, it has the second best student from teams A, B, and C. This way, each student has an equal opportunity to gain points for their team at each table. At the end of the tournaments, the teacher can decide whatever they want to do for the winning team. The other way that I'd like to cover is Jigsaw. Jigsaw breaks students into groups based on how many subtopics a teacher makes of a subject. Each student then picks a subtopic to research on and is given some time to do research. And after a while, they can convene with other students from other groups based on what subtopic they had chosen. They become the expert in this subtopic and will go back to their original team to try and best explain to their team this subtopic that they spent so much time researching. This way, each student, or each group has a student that was an expert in the subtopics and had a very good understanding of the whole subject that was trying to be taught. The traditional method of Jigsaw has each student then do an individual project or paper based on this to show what they were able to learn. One of my sources recommended actually having a collaborative project at the end to keep this collaborative mood all the way through to the end of the project. So, if collaborative learning is such a good fix to our solution, or a problem of academic and critical thinking, why do we not include more of it in our classrooms? Many teachers don't really know how they can properly implement this. Other teachers fear that it would completely break down their classroom model. One of my sources did a good job of breaking down all classroom forms into 3 structures. These structures were the task structure, authority structure, and the reward structure. Teachers have different comfort levels in each of these structures, and because there are so many different models of collaborative learning, there is bound to be a model that will work for every teacher without going outside their comfort zone. The last point that a lot of teachers have had concerns of is the personal accountability. Because we are having students work together in a group, they have feared that students will just depend on everyone else in the group and kind of ride to an easy grade. all of the long-standing models have a way to hold each student accountable.